Today we want to look at how electrons are arranged in an atom. In the previous class, we talked about atoms and the subatomic particles. We said an atom has 3 subatomic particles, which are protons, neutrons, and electrons. And then we said protons and electrons, they are located in the nucleus of an atom, while electron is located in shells or energy levels. Today, we want to look at how the electrons are arranged in the shells of an atom. Here we have a model of an atom. There's nucleus at the center, and then remember, nucleus contains protons and neutrons. And then we have the shell around the nucleus where the electrons are located. These shells are known as energy levels according to their closeness to the nucleus. The closest shell to the nucleus has the lowest energy level, and it can take up to 2 electrons. So this shell can take 1 and 2 electrons. The next shell, or the next energy level, has higher energy level compared to the first shells, and they can take up to 8 electrons. So this is how we put electrons in the next shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of course, you will expect the third shell to have a higher energy level compared to the second and the first shell. So the third shell can take up to 18 electrons, but for the first 20 elements, we fill it up to 8 electrons only. Now let's supply electron to the third shell. This is called electronic configuration. We can also write it in the short form. Shell number 1 will take 2 electrons. Shell number 2 will take up to 8 electrons. And shell number 3 will take also 8 electrons. Remember, we are talking in terms of the first 20 elements. So this 2 means number of electrons in the first shell, and this 8 means number of electrons in the second shell, and this 8 means number of electrons in the third shell. So let's use this knowledge to arrange electrons for the first 20 elements. We are going to start with hydrogen atom, and hydrogen has only 1 electron, so it will have only 1 shell. So we'll put the electron this way, and then the short form will be 1. The next atom is helium. Helium has 2 electrons. It needs only 1 shell as well, and then we can put electrons this way, 1, 2, and the short form will be 2. The third element in the periodic table is lithium. So it means lithium has 3 electrons. So let's arrange the electrons in the shells of lithium. Because lithium has 3 electrons, so the first 2 electrons will go to the first shell. 1, 2. Remember that we said shell number 1 can take only 2 electrons. So it means the remaining electron will go to the next shell, and then we supply the third electron into the next shell. So the short form will be 2, 1. So let's look for the element number 15, which is phosphorus. Because phosphorus is the element number 15, it means it has 15 electrons. So 2 electrons will go to the shell number 1, and 8 electrons will go to the shell number 2, and the remaining 5 electrons will go to the shell number 3. So the short form will be 2, 8, 5. And lastly, let's write the electronic structure for the element number 20, which is calcium. I think it is better we start with the short form first, calcium. Because it's the element number 20, the shell number 1 will take 2 electrons. Shell number 2 will take 8 electrons. Shell number 3 will take 8 electrons. Remember, we said for the first 20 elements, shell number 3 will take only 8 electrons instead of 18 electrons. So the remaining 2 electrons will go to the next shell, which is 2. So this is the short form for electronic structure for calcium. So we can draw it easily. This is shell number 1, 2, electrons. The shell number 2, 8 electrons. The shell number 3, 8 electrons as well. And the shell number 4, which is a large shell, will have the remaining 2 electrons.